I hope you can hear me. Okay, so Parashat Ki Tavo, dedicating the first and the finest to Hashem. And this is about Bikurim, the first fruit, mitzvah of bringing the first fruits to the temple. I'm really looking forward because I'm picking a lot of fruits in my garden right now. And the key to discovering the significance of the mitzvah of Bikurim, first fruits, offering, is to recognize how precious it is to Hashem when we serve Him with our guts from our lowest place of physical desire, because usually we have our own desire to gobble down the first and the finest for ourselves. But by giving it to Hashem in the first fruit offering, we show that we're serving Him with our guts, with our desires. Hashem created the world in order to make a dwelling place for Himself below, in the physical world where the Yetzirah reigns. When we serve Hashem with our lowest being, we're fulfilling the purpose of the entire creation. That's why it says, both for the creation, Bereshit, and for the first fruits, you should take Mireshit, Reshit, the same word, shows that there's a connection, that the whole creation was worth it for the sake of the first fruit offering. So the meditation below, which is not really a meditation, but more of a meditative practice to incorporate in our daily life routine, gives guidelines for keeping the mitzvah of Bikurim in our time by providing practical tips how we can continuously dedicate the first and the best to Hashem. So I just want to share with you a description of how the first fruit offering was done in temple times. This is from the Mishnah of Bikurim, chapter 3, and it's so beautiful. And this is what it says. Those who lived near Jerusalem would bring figs and grapes because they would not get spoiled by a short journey. Those who lived far from Jerusalem would bring dried figs and raisins. An ox went before them with its horn overlaid with gold and a crown of olive leaves upon its head. The flute was played before them until they approached Jerusalem. When they came close to Jerusalem, they sent messengers before them, and they would decorate their Bikurim, the first fruit offerings. The flute was played before them until they reached the Temple Mount. Once they reached the Temple Mount, even Agrippas the king would carry a basket on his shoulder and go in as far as the temple courtyard. Once they reached the courtyard, the Levites would sing, "I will praise you, O God, for you have raised me up, and you have not allowed my enemies to rejoice over me." Immediately following the holiday of Shavuot, the farmers would rejoice by dedicating the beginning of the fruit harvest to Hashem. So the reason why the beginning of everything is so important is that the body follows the head. If we, for example, write down the number 0, no matter how many zeros we add to this first 0, the entire number will still have no value. Yet, if we only add number 1 in the beginning, then each 0 changes the total number greatly. This explains why dedicated the first of everything to Hashem illuminates and evaluates and elevates our entire existence. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you the meditative practice, which is not exactly meditation. But when you wake in the morning, as soon as you open your eyes, thank Hashem for restoring your soul. Try to infuse your Modeh Ani prayer, like thanking God for waking you up in the morning and giving us our soul back. So try to infuse this prayer with excitement and thankfulness to Hashem for this new day. Add your personal appreciative prayer as you face Hashem upon rising from your bed. 2. Dedicate your first bite of fruit in the morning to Hashem by taking a deep breath and recite the following: for the sake of the unity of the Holy One with His Shekhinah, I do not eat only for the sake of feeling pleasure for my body, but for the sake of maintaining my body healthy and strong to be able to serve him. And so you could say it in your own words. It doesn't have to be exactly these words, but just to remember and to make a mindful uh, note and pronunciation that we're now eating for the sake of God and not for the sake of just our own physical pleasures. If you make this conscious intention before your meal, even if you later get distracted and start eating for selfish pleasures, still your original pure intention is never nullified. Your entire eating is considered holy, like your original intention at the beginning of the meal. Okay, and now 3. Buy something new. Save it to use first time for Shabbat or for the upcoming holiday. To rejoice with it for the sake of Hashem. This applies both to a new fruit, a new garment, and a new household good. 4. Shopping. As you're waiting in line before finalizing your purchase, recite, for the sake of the unity of the Holy One with his Shekhinah, may everything I buy be vessels for performing mitzvot. Whenever possible, try to buy something something special as a gift to make someone else happy. 5. When you pick your fruits, flowers, herbs, or veggies, try to give some of your nicest produce to a person in need. 6. Before beginning your exercise routine, take a deep breath and recite, for the sake of the unity of the Holy One with his Shekhinah. I exercise in order to maintain my body healthy and strong for the sake of serving Hashem. 7. When you go to sleep before reciting the bedtime Shema, ask Hashem that your sleep will be deep and sound to give you the strength to awaken, excited to serve Him first thing in the morning. Okay, so that is based on the Biala Rebbe, and he says when we have pure intentions, the Biala Rebbe, to dedicate the beginning of everything that we do to Hashem, we fulfill the mitzvah of Bikurim, the first fruits, even more than doing temple times. Okay, so that was one meditation. I want to do the other one that we did before Rosh Hashanah. So